Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another movie review. You know, I don't know if guys really talk about this very much. I was just thinking about it a while ago and thinking about what I wanted to do a movie review on. And, I wonder if like a lot of guys ever think about, or girls too, girls think about, was there like a movie that like really just, jumped out at you in your younger years that, um, kind of just really just hit you at you saw it at the right time, and it just kind of really, especially like as you're going through puberty and starting to notice your body and changes and things like that, and you start to notice women and everything else, and you start to notice how much work and effort they put into trying to be beautiful and trying to wear nice clothes, things like that. And you really just kind of like just get really knocked on your ass by how beautiful women are, and how sexy they can be and everything else. And you don't mean them any disrespect, but you know you just can't help but just be amazed by them. And this happened to me when I was, I'd say, probably about 13 years old, and I watched the movie I really should not have been watching. This is back when all you didn't have internet, you didn't have any of that stuff. If you were lucky, and you had basic cable, you had Cinemax. So like on late Friday nights or Saturday nights, you didn't have to go to school the next day or any of that kind of stuff. You could stay up late at night and watch movies on Skinemax, because that was a good way to see beautiful naked women and stuff like that. Now, I remember I saw this movie. This movie came out in 1985. The movie is called Joy and Joan. Joy et Joan. When I saw it on TV, though, it was under the title Joy Chapter 2. And, here's the DVD. And this is, you've heard me say this before. Lived in this, had a period of time, lived in a small place, didn't have a lot of room. So I had to take my DVDs, and put them in CD wallets and stuff like that. Now I'm trying to get the packaging back and stuff like that. This is one of them. But anyway, though, here's the DVD. So I do have it on DVD. But there's a better idea of what the movie, the title of the movie and what it looks like and everything else. Now, the movie stars Brigitte Lahaie, the beautiful blonde French goddess, and Isabelle Solar, I believe that's her name, plays Joan. Now, yeah, this introduced me. There was just something about Brigitte Lahaie when I watched this movie, and she just really just knocked me for a loop. I just thought she was amazingly, stunningly beautiful. And later on, yeah, I watched her in the hang on. Later on, I watched her in the Jean Roland films like Fascination and Night of the Hunted, Grapes of Death, movies like that. But I just remember watching this movie and just being completely knocked out by how gorgeous and beautiful and sexy she was, and this tall, blonde, beautiful, statuesque woman and things like that. And it just did, it was kind of it was one of those movies like I shouldn't have been watching it actually. Like I said, I was 13 and stayed up late to watch it and stuff, but it was just one of those deals. It was one of those movies that just it was the right time to see it, and it just really kind of just knocked me for a loop and really formed my world. And I'm thankful for that. And I was really excited when this came out on DVD from Severin. Thank God for that. But you know yeah, just and if anybody from Severin ever watches this video, is there any chance at all maybe this could maybe see a Blu-ray release at some point? But that would be nice. But yeah, so anyway, so this is the movie we're talking about, Joy and Joan. And the movie starts off, you have Joy, played by Brigitte Lahaie here. And she's a supermodel. And, they were kind of trying to do this thing with Joy, like what they were doing with the Emmanuelle series, where she was traveling all over the world and seeing exotic places and getting into love affairs and things like that. And kind of having this wild kind of adventurous sexual life and everything else. And they were trying to do a series of movies like this. And like I said, this was, even though it's, the official title is Joy and Joan, the when I watched it on TV, it was called Joy Chapter 2. So anyway, so the story starts off. She's at a party, and it's a very ritzy, glamorous occasion and everything else. And then turns out her lover, boyfriend Peter, turns out that he's ditching her again, and it turns she's with this guy, and he kind of shits on her all the time, and just kind of comes around when he wants to get his jollies, and then just runs off on her, leaves her when she needs him, and she decides she's tired of his crap, and she decides she's gonna do something about it. Well, she meets this man named Bruce, and this guy Bruce tells her he wants to, right away he's talking about he wants to marry her. And Joy, on the one end, she's kind of taken aback by the whole thing, but at the same time, she realizes like I need to get away from this bad relationship with Peter and things like that, and so she decides she'll go ahead and she'll marry him. And so he takes her away, and takes her to his big palace and everything else, and she's got servants, and this guy's loaded. He's got money, he's got servants and everything else, and he tells her that they're going to have like a party, and they're going to invite some people over and things like that. And there's one servant girl that Joy just kind of um, feels some sort of a connection with and stuff, and the servant girl's kind of wanting to get the opportunity to tell her something, but we don't know exactly what. So the night of the party comes, all these people come in, and Joy meets a lot of them and everything else, and she's given drinks and stuff, and she all of a sudden realizes she's not feeling very well, and basically, pretty much, she's been roofied, and she's pretty much unconscious, but she's still kind of it's like she's conscious, but she can't really do anything about what's going on, and so they take this Bruce. He has this kind of really odd looking manservant, and this guy plays pretty prominently throughout the whole movie. But they take her, and they pretty much put her in this chair with kind of like stirrups, almost like what very similar, like a chair like a woman would sit in at a gynecologist's office. And her feet are up in these stirrups and stuff, and then basically all the men take turns having sex with her and stuff like that. And then the next morning, she's kind of more she's more alert, she's more aware of what's going on, and Bruce comes in and he tells her that the only way he could give her true love is to, that he's got to express his love through other people, so that, that's what's going to happen. And that, it's going to happen again. And, she had sex with all these men, and they're going to come back and they're going to do it to her again and all this stuff. And so at one point she's being massaged by this she's being massaged by this servant girl, and the servant girl, and she's asking her like, where are you from and all this other kind of stuff, and she's kind of tell a little bit about herself, and Brigitte Lahaie, she's beautiful and lovely and nude and in close up, and but the thing is though too is like while she's being the servant girl takes off her clothes to massage Joy, which it's a very erotic scene. The only thing that's kind of upsetting about it is just the kind of not very good looking, hideous manservant. He's watching them as this is going on. But so yeah, she's massaging Joy, and tells her like tells her a little bit about where she's from and everything else, and she tells her that like, yeah, being in this relationship with Bruce, it's a bad deal. You really need to get out of here. Do the best you can and all this other kind of stuff. And so, Joy gets on a horse and she's riding. She's trying to get to the nearest town, and she's almost attacked. So she goes back to the palace and everything. And then, so hang on. So anyway, so she goes back to the palace, and, she sees that, the night is coming, and, the cars are starting to pull up. These people are coming back. They're ready for their next round with her. And she decides, oh, hell no. So she's able to get out and sneak out and get away and stuff like that. So she runs away from this guy, Bruce, and everything. She gets away from him. But, she's constantly being followed by the manservant. And so he's, kind of, he's keeping his distance, but, he's always following her and stuff like that. And then she comes across Joan. She meets Joan, played by Isabel Solar here, and the two of them they strike up a little bit of a friendship. But at first for Joy, it's just a friendship. She's not really aware, but to Joan, it's an immediate attraction. and she just realizes that there's something about Joy that really, is attractive and alluring about her and stuff like that. And so, they're talking and they're taking a kind of like a little bit of a tour. It turns out Joan is something like a tour guide, and she's saying she's staying with this family that kind of adopted her, and so they're staying there and they're having dinner and all this other kind of stuff. And Joy's talking about like, wow, this is fantastic, this is great, and everything else. And she's like, yeah, I know. And these people take me in and they're really wonderful and stuff. So that night, Joy's getting ready to go to bed, and Joan comes in and she starts talking about like this is the first time it's ever happened to me, and Joy's like, what's the first time this has ever happened to you? And she says, that I've fallen in love with a woman, and she's like, I really want to make love with you, Joy, and everything else. And Joy is talking about like, yeah, I've been hurt before, not yet. I need more time and things like that, and everything else. And she's all like, do you think I'm attractive and all this other kind of stuff? And Joy's getting undressed, and so Joan decides she's going to take her top off too, and and she's all like, do you think I'm attractive? And she's like, yeah, you're very attractive, I just need more time and stuff like that. So Joan's getting ready to go to bed. She's like, would you at least give me a kiss? And so Joy kisses her, and so it's in the middle of the night. Joan wakes up, and we find out that Joy and Joan both have adjoining rooms, and she wakes up and she's hearing these moaning sounds, and we see this beautiful erotic sensuous scene of Joy masturbating. Whew, really good scene. I got to be honest, it's really a fantastic scene. And then Joan decides she's going to masturbate too. So you got this scene of these two women engaging in mutual masturbation, which is like I said, it's very sexy, it's very erotic, and a very wonderful thing to see and everything else. And so anyway, so the very next morning, um, Joy decides she's going to leave, and she tells Joan goodbye and all this stuff. And so Joan chases after her, and she's telling her, like, I love you, and you can't run out on me. I need I want us to be together, and don't run away from me. I'll help you and everything else. And so they start, they spend the day together, and they're building up their relationship, and they're holding hands and riding around, and they manage to make their way to a train. And then we get to easily the kind of the real key scene of the film here, which is the lesbian love scene between Joy and Joan. And it's very sexual, it's very erotic, it's very beautifully filmed. At first it's kind of hard to watch because he keeps cutting back and forth, because you got Joy and Joan on the train. They're starting to kiss and make out, but it's cutting to, we find out that the hideous manservant, he's following them in the car, and then the car finally, he hits a dead end and he can't follow the train any longer. And so, then we get into the real key scene of the movie, which is the sex scene between Joy and Joan. And like I said, they just, it's very beautiful. It's very sensually filmed. Good use of light and shadows. Beautifully photographed. Just the way it's done is, it really is. It's the standout scene of the entire movie. So then the two of them, they, basically consummate their relationship, and then they fall asleep in each other's arms. And then they're, the next day they're, playing at this waterfall and washing up and stuff. And, Joan asks Joy about, like past relationships, and Joy tells her about Peter, and, how she fell in love with him, but he always, tends to ditch her when she needs him the most and things like that. So they're kind of enjoying this kind of carefree lifestyle and stuff. They're still being followed by the hideous manservant and stuff. And so anyway, so they get invited to a party, and they think that nothing much is going to happen and stuff. But they get to this party, and both of them are pretty much instantly attacked. Joy is basically taken, and she's chained up, and then Joan is actually able to get free, but rather than do anything to rescue Joan, she kind of leaves her to her fate. And Joy is, endlessly, multiple times she's sexually assaulted and everything else. And basically she's just left there. And then we finally get to the point where the hideous manservant, he, finds her and takes her and, gets her cleaned up and everything else. And he's driving her back. She's about ready to, travel home, and he stops her, and basically he tells her about how, she reminded him of the love of his life, and that, she was the most beautiful woman in the world. And, he really wanted to, to be with her and everything else. And she's like, no. And sorry, just another picture of Brigitte Lahaie here I wanted to show. But anyway, though, just she decided, no, I don't want, no, it's not going to happen. And so she goes away and everything else. And she gets back to her home, which I believe was in France or London, one of the two. And so she's there. And then, she runs into Joan. And, she's kind of like, why did you leave me? Why didn't you come back for me or help me or any of that kind of stuff? So they're together. They're starting to piece back their relationship again and stuff. And so Joy says, I got to go do a photo shoot. And, I'm going to be gone for a little bit and stuff. And so she leaves. And, Joan is there. She's by herself. She's lonely and sad that Joy is gone and stuff. Well, Peter comes to visit. He thinks that Joy is home. Turns out, no, he's not. And for whatever reason, Joan decides she wants to have sex with Peter just because, the way it's kind of explained in the movie is like she wants to see if she could see whatever it is in Peter that Joy sees, to understand why she would ever have been in love with him and stuff. So she has sex with him. And then Joy comes home and she finds, everything's kind of going okay and everything else. And then, Joan does ultimately confess to having sex with Peter. Joy's a little bit upset, but Joan explains, like, I just wanted to know what it was you saw in him and what was it about him that you thought was appealing and everything else. So I just wanted to know. And so that's why I gave it a shot, I have sex with him. And so basically they call Peter over, and then, kind of the climax of the movie is this big three-way sex scene between Peter and Joy and Joan. And it's very, again, it's very beautifully photographed. It's meant to be very erotic. The three of them are engaging in sex in front of the fireplace, and, it's very beautiful and sexually filmed and things like that. And then at the end of the movie, we find out that Joy has a baby. Her and Joan are together, and, Joan comes up to Joy, and Joy says, I never knew I could be so happy in my life. And basically that's where the movie pretty much ends. So the movie, like I said, it was a game changing movie for me. At the time I saw it, it just really blew me away. Just the sexuality of it, and, Brigitte Lahaie here. I mean, she just really just stunned me. Her beauty, everything stunned me about her, and yeah, it just really knocked me for a loop. And while, the other scenes are, beautifully filmed and sexual and everything else, it really is the key scene is the love scene between Joy and Joan on the train. That's the most kind of the real pivotal scene of the movie. And the two ladies, they just amazing. It's just, I would definitely, it's like, the thing is, this movie is it's on DVD. Like I said, I wish Severin could maybe at some point see maybe about putting this on Blu-ray if that was possible to do. I would love for this to be on Blu-ray. The movie, it is pricey, but, just for me, it's worth it. It's worth it to have this movie on DVD. I would rather have it on Blu-ray, but if DVD is all there is, I'll take it. But the movie is, it's, very beautifully filmed. Like I said, it's very erotic. It's very well done. It's not hardcore, even though Brigitte Lahaie was known for doing hardcore French porno films and stuff. This movie is not hardcore. It's softcore. It's, there are sex scenes in it, but the sex scenes are simulated. They're not real. But the acting is really good. The acting is convincing. I'll say that, But still, this is, in my opinion, this is a true erotic gem. And this is something, if you really want a good collection of erotic cinema, erotic films, I would strongly recommend get this one. It's pricey, but it's worth it. I believe it is. The, stunning visuals, the imagery, everything else, it all works. The two women here are amazingly beautiful. And yeah, that was just, like I said, this movie just, it really, it really changed the way I looked at things. It wasn't just, it wasn't pornography. It wasn't just fucking, I mean, to sit there and watch a movie, to watch a porno movie, that's not a big deal. It's like, okay, like, captain of the football team, he's having trouble. Was a cheerleader due to help him? She fucks him. Guy goes into a female doctor's office. He's having a problem, with his, bad case of priapism. What's the doctor do? She fucks him, that sort of thing. But this here, this is more, it's more erotic. It's more, it's about mood, and it's not so much about the sex, but the anticipation of it. I just think it's really well done. I really do, and I'm glad Severin, I'm glad Severin was able to find this film, and put it out on DVD, and I'm hoping, like I said, I hope either I can get this back so I can have the artwork and put it in the DVD case again, or even better, we can get it. Hopefully, we could look forward to a Blu-ray release of this in the near future. But yeah, like I said, if you're looking for, you're not really wanting porn in your collection, but you want like a nice collection of erotic films, erotic works, I definitely recommend Joy and Joan. This movie is right up there. I highly recommend it. Very good erotic film. So that's going to do it. We talked about Joy and Joan, and yeah, yeah, a movie that I saw at 13 years old. I shouldn't have watched it, but when I did, it just really did. It just changed my world. I really loved it. I still love it to this day. Anyway, that's going to do it. If anybody took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I truly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I really hope that you'll like and subscribe. I'm gonna have I have plenty of videos on my channel already. There's plenty more to come, and yeah, I can't thank you enough for watching the video. So this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Have a good day.